Fire officials in Orrington say after 36 hours, they have put out the fire at Eagle Point Energy Center that began on Tuesday night. This is the second large fire at the waste facility in less than 2 years. This was the scene Tuesday. Orrington's fire chief Scott Stewart says crews monitored that scene, put out a couple of minor hotspots last night through this morning. He adds he thought it was going to take longer to extinguish the fire based on the size of those initial flames.
I didn't expect to be leaving here today. Like when I showed up here that night, I expected this to be a multiple day event again. Very happy the way it turned out, that we were able to, certainly there was impacts to the community, but not nearly like there was in 2024.
Orrington's town manager tells us he doesn't expect the damage from this fire to impact the company's goal of operating that as a waste-to-energy facility by March of 2027. He says the facility will return to operations as a transfer station as soon as that debris has been removed. The city of Auburn officially held a grand opening for a new resource center earlier today. The Auburn Resource Center features a kitchen, showers, clothing, and more to support the unhoused and at-risk population. They welcome people into the new building with a ribbon cutting and time to mingle with some community partners. The goal of the center is to help people in crisis reach a point of self-sufficiency. Mayor of Auburn Jeff Harmon says it's a step in the right direction.
What can we do today to make life better for people in Auburn? And I would challenge everyone here to do the same thing. Celebrate your successes, because there's been many. This is one of them. Realize that there's still a lot of work to be done.
The center opened in February, but this was the official opening of the new facility. We are now in day 5 of ranked choice tabulating. If you thought we might have results a little sooner, so did some election officials. Once again, Christian Harsa live in Augusta has been following this process since the very beginning. So the big questions continue to be what's happening right now and any idea on those results.
Well, the answers to that we're going to get to in a second. When we might get those results, it's looking sooner and sooner. And the reason I say that is because of what's happening right now. We'll turn the camera over here. So we have the election officials right now going town by town, county by county on the Democratic primary for governor. They're going to go race by race. So what they're doing is they're going town by town, reading off the numbers and making sure that they are accurate in what they have in the book to what's in the computer. Once they're done, they're currently working on Aroostook County. They finished up Androscoggin. Then they're going to move to Cumberland, Franklin, Hancock, et cetera, et cetera. And then once they're done with all 16 counties for the Democratic primary for governor, then they're going to move on to the Republican primary for governor. They're going to start the process all over again. And so they're going to move that then down into CD2, then down to the Senate and the House races. Senate, House, they might flip-flop there in the order, but they're going to go town by town, county by county, race by race, all the way down there. And it's a slow process. That's why it's been taking 5 days, 9 days after last week's election. But Kate McBrien, the Chief Deputy Secretary of State, says that's the way that it's supposed to be.
The most important part of ranked choice voting tabulation is that all the information is in and it's correct. And we can verify that it's in and it's correct. So that when we run that ranked choice tabulation, we're running from the correct information and we get the real results that everyone's waiting for. And that just takes time. So we're doing double checking, we're triple checking, we are going through those numbers and we're making sure everything is there so that we can give you the results.
This is called the proofing process, and it's the last step before we can plug everything into the computer and get those results. I've been told that the estimate is that this takes about 2 hours. We've been told some numbers before, so maybe a little longer than 2 hours to be safe here. But Brian and Amanda, when we get to that point, we're going to be live here in Augusta, so everyone watching at home can watch and learn when we do.
That's why we appreciate you being there for us for so many days, Christian. For that moment, we will look forward to that tonight. Christian, thanks. Vice President J.D. Vance holding a news briefing today at the White House addressing the de-escalation of the conflict in the Middle East. His comments this afternoon come as Iran and the United States appear closer now than ever to closing that deal on ending the war.
This as Israel continues military action in Lebanon, which is a close ally of Iran. It's a move that could threaten the agreement. It wouldn't be the first time that conflict in Lebanon caused talks to fall apart. The current memorandum of understanding between Iran and the U.S. calls for an end to hostilities, not only between the two countries, but also between their allies. President Trump posted to his social media platform earlier today saying he expects Israel to comply to the agreement and end action in Lebanon. Vice President Vance echoing that sentiment today while speaking to the media.
What the president gets grown frustrated sometimes is that we seem to be right on the cusp of a major breakthrough in the agreement, and then all of a sudden there's a major explosion that goes off in a civilian population center in Beirut, and a lot of people who have nothing to do with Hezbollah lose their lives. That's not acceptable.
Israeli drone strikes killed 3 people in Lebanon earlier today, according to the Lebanese National News Agency.
Senator Angus King today criticizing President Trump's new ceasefire with Iran as a terrible deal for a war that was, quote, illegal from the get-go.
King told Maine reporters today he's reviewed the 14-point memorandum of understanding signed today and considers it one-sided. King says it lacks guarantees or inspections about highly enriched uranium used in nuclear weapons and gives Iran $300 billion for reconstruction. It also unfreezes $50 billion in Iranian assets.
We certainly didn't get much in this deal, and we certainly didn't get anything close to justifying the expense in American lives, civilians killed, cost to the American taxpayers. We've paid about $60 billion in the last 4 months just in the U.S. in additional gasoline prices because of this war.
Senator Susan Collins tells us the Iran peace deal, quote, raises a lot of questions and the administration should provide a thorough briefing to the Senate, end quote. Senator King also told reporters many Maine-based defense contractors like Bath Iron Works stand to benefit from the annual National Defense Authorization Act just passed the Senate Armed Services Committee on which he serves. For example, the act authorizes BIW to build 2, not 1, destroyer in the next fiscal year. It also calls for more F-35 fighter jets whose engines are built at Pratt & Whitney in North Berwick.